Here with Washington State women's basketball head coach Kamie Ethridge. Coach, your team takes to the Rocky Mountains this weekend, hit the road to play at Colorado and at Utah. How is your team preparing for this road challenge, and just how much are you all looking forward to getting back on the road for another Pac-12 challenge?
Would rather be home, but we have to go on the road and just back into our routine. Obviously, we had 3 games last week, and that got us a little bit out of our routine. But been at practice this week and preparing for 2 incredibly competitive teams that are going to, be a real challenge for us. So excited to get going, and excited that we're coming off of some wins and have some confidence, but I obviously realize the challenges in front of us.
All right, we'll open up the floor for questions. We'll start with Jamie Vinnick, Cougs fan. Go ahead, Jamie.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Good, Jamie.
Obviously, this is a tough trip for a lot of reasons. I mean, it's the only trip where you actually go to 2 different states, the altitude, and then you get the fact that these are 2 very good teams. How do you kind of prepare not only for the on-court side of things, but also kind of the psychological side with, again, the thin air and then the travel?
Yeah, I ignore it, but they don't. I mean, Colorado, they're sneaky like that. They put the altitude on the arena right when you walk in or right before you go into your locker room. So, the players talk about it a lot more than we do as far as addressing it. I think it's going to be key that we try to sub and try to get some, expect our players to get out of breath and need, they don't have to be out of the game very long, but we have to prepare that we're going to have to get some more players in and a little bit more offense. So, but I don't think anything's different for us. These are 2 teams that are, right there. We're neck and neck with them, you want to find ways to separate yourself from those that are close to you. And obviously we're excited about how we handled business last week, but it just is a whole new, challenge for us now. And we're focused on that and want to prepare well the next day or so and then, travel like you intend to win and prepare like you intend to win and compete as good as you can. And I think our team's trying to do that.
These are obviously you guys swept this road trip last year. Colorado got you at home, and you ended up beating Utah 3 times. What did you kind of learn from winning those games last year that you kind of take towards this year with the, the understanding that these are very different teams? Obviously, Utah's a lot better than they were. Colorado's added some more pieces and are much deeper than they maybe were a year ago.
Yeah. I'm not really someone that spends a lot of time thinking about last year versus this year. I just think we look at it like, we know this team, both these teams really well. Our players are really savvy and high IQ players. And when we scout, they're very, tuned in and focused, and they're watching the film and they're asking questions and they understand, the thoughts of how we want to guard and how we're going to do this. And it just seems so now and so present. It's not like you're sitting around talking about last year or your success, because quite frankly, we're not talking about last weekend's success. We're just understanding that these are the 2 biggest games on our schedule. These are the people that, we're all going to be fighting for NCAA tournament bids, maybe. And to get a win, to get 2 wins on this road trip would set us up pretty well.
Just kind of looking at what Bella did this last week, and maybe not the best of the offensive side, understandably, considering her matchup was, extremely difficult. But one of her maybe better defensive weekends really this season, maybe since she's been here. How much of confidence do you think she maybe got out of that going up against someone like Mulkey, who's 6'9", and then as you get into some good posts through the rest of conference play, the confidence and the belief that she can, play at this level of, guarding these elite and these really big bigs, even when she's not the biggest player on the floor?
Yeah, we showed her a clip of Draymond Green, and he was talking to Doris Burke, and they were just talking about, she was just amazed, and how did you see this, and why would you do this in this possession? And and you just saw his mind go, that's not my guy, but that's Kevin Durant, and he's the only problem on the floor right now. And if I don't get there, and he's talking like he's so aware of every situation on the floor. And his movement. And ever since then, we compared her to, she's had a couple of possessions that looked like Draymond Green, her activity level, her IQ, her not just guarding her guy, but in help and then in stance and then getting back over there and then being just that's when you really start separating, when you start understanding the game, that you put yourself in plays, whether it's your guy or not, just because you understand basketball and what the biggest threat on the court is. And, she's buying into that, and athletically she's good enough to guard, guards off the bounce, and obviously guarding big she's had to do. And I think she's just gaining confidence, and it's an amazing thing to see. She gets herself into trouble a little bit, but you can tell when she's not in foul trouble and she plays that actively, it is a huge benefit for us. And she is the one true 5 player for us that, we don't worry about. Honestly, we could switch 1 through 5 because we really do believe she can guard anyone on the court.
Yeah, I was just actually going to kind of ask about that too. 5 straight games now where Bella hasn't fouled out, and these last 2, especially with these difficult matchups, and even against Oregon State when you guys were thin at center without Jess and without Emma. I mean, how important is that in terms of your guys' success and Bella's overall development, that she's learning to play a little more disciplined and stay out of foul trouble, especially in these situations where you really, really need her and don't necessarily have the options when, especially as I mentioned, against Oregon State.
Right. Well, I don't know how to put it into words about how important that is and how crucial it is. And, then that's not to say that we don't need, great support behind Bella, and the fact that now I think we've had success going small and Ula switching over there. So getting Emma back and getting Jess back and knowing that we can go small and Ula can be our 5. That's not to say we don't want Bella on the court. I think we got into trouble when Bella kept getting into foul trouble and we weren't good enough. We didn't know how to play without her on the court. We didn't know how to play small. And we kind of committed to doing some things to learn how to play better when she's not on the court. And maybe that triggered something in her. Like maybe she's sitting around going, oh crap, I better get on the court or they're just going to move on without me. But again, I think her growth comes in big chunks. Sometimes you see it on the offensive end, and she has some games and some things that she does that you just go, wow, she just got better this week. But it is really neat to see her improve on the defensive end or to improve on not fouling, because that is IQ stuff. That is, basketball intelligence and feel for the game and understanding, sometimes you just don't take that foul and give up 2 points. And that's young players. Those are hard things to learn. But I just think that growth on her defense, the defensive end side of the ball has been pretty amazing the last 3 or 4 weeks of our season.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thanks, Jamie.
Coach, one of the players that's really stepped up her offensive game here of late is Johanna Tedder. I believe in her last 5 games, she's averaging 14.4 points a game. And this season, when she scores 10 or more points, your team's 7-0. So obviously getting production from her is vital to your team. But what's been kind of the key recently to her offensive flow and just seeing an uptick in her offensive production?
You just believe, you want to believe that your players are going to go through some highs and lows of a season. And I just think she's in a really good spot right now. I think we've gotten a little bit more fluid and sure of ourselves in running our offense and some things that we try to do. And she knows where shots might be coming and the timing's right and the rhythm's right. And she's ready for those shots. And then you have a few of those games where you make some, and then I think your confidence grows and she's aggressive. She's looking for a shot. And I think she's in a really good spot. She's feeling good about herself, and we're encouraging her, and we need her to really be looking for shots, and it's crucial for us. And we need to be doing everything we possibly can to set screens and to get her, good looks, because she's that good of a shooter. And that stat, I didn't know that stat, for us to be 7-0 when she scores 10 or more. I mean, that's a great, it's something I'm going to tell her. I'm going to tell her that tomorrow. I'm going to tell the team that, because I think she's got to believe that we're going to work as hard as we can to get her those great looks. And she's got to know that we need her for us to be really successful. We need her to, really put some points on the board and even out our scoring and give us a chance. So I'm thrilled with where she is. I think she's doing better on the defensive end as well. And, and I think that's a great sign about how locked in she is and how, she's really competitive and she wants us to be good, and she knows she's got to be a big part of that.
Another player kind of that's really stepped up offensively here in the past few weeks is Ula Motuga, especially from outside. Ula's shooting just a tick below 50% from behind the arc right now. Coming into this season, the best that she has shot in the season is 29% from behind the arc, and that was during her freshman season. So what's been key to really her improvement from behind the arc, and how big is that for her in her game for somebody who is an undersized post that has to consistently go against girls that are taller than her week in and week out?
Well, I think Ula is just such a complete player. And, obviously when we get players shooting that kind of percentage, that's just icing on the cake, because, honestly, if she weren't doing that, she's still key for us. How she keeps us in offense. I call her our calming effect. People love to play with her. We're better. We communicate better when she's on the floor. Her voice is one of the loudest. She's the highest IQ and leaders on the court. She knows how to, get everybody in the right places. Obviously she can guard all over the court and has to do a lot in those areas. So you add all that in and then, oh yeah, we need her to make every three that she takes and to be really looking for her shots. And again, I give her a lot of credit. I think Ula's getting to a spot where she just knows, this is who I am. This is what my team needs. And I'm going to step into that and embrace it and not be afraid of those big moments. And I think she's done that amazingly well. She scored a big post-up play against at UW, posting her up against someone, and she got a good basket there. So she's picking and choosing where she scores. I think that's the other thing that Ula does. She doesn't really take bad shots. She doesn't need to shoot a lot, as an agenda for herself. She just sits back and when we need it and when it's important and when she can step into a shot, she's really confident that she's going to knock it down. And our team is very confident and we believe in her to do that. So I just love her growth. I love her, who she is and how she's leading our team.
All right, Coach, we'll appreciate your time. Safe travels to the Rocky Mountains this weekend and best of luck on the road. Talk to you after Colorado, and go Cougs.
Thank you. Go Cougs.